We got a little bit of gratitude. We got a whole bunch of fun. We got a little bit of attitude, and then we're getting everyone. We're gonna share some happy times and some stories about the fun. And then because I already said fun, we're gonna once again get everyone. It's Love Morning. Do 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 do. Love Morning. Do 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 do. Welcome to Love Morning. Happy to see you. Hi. Well, this is exciting. I am exploring a different way of recording today. And now that I look at it, I'm not that happy with it. But that's okay. This is a test. If you saw my room right now, you would think to yourself, what are you doing? Why do you have it set up this way? Do I even explain it, or do I just let you hold on to the kernel of possibility that maybe this man's a genius? Yes, I think I will allow for that possibility. Oh, if you're here, say hello. Good morning, Chris. Hello to you, Chris. Good morning. And good morning, Gerbot. And good morning, Razorblade. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, okay, I'm going to tell you what I've tried today. So my camera, my high-res camera is recording right now in vertical mode. So there's a whole bunch of, this is all being recorded up here, and this is all being recorded down here. And I cropped it just like this for the web. So that way, if I said something cool that I wanted to use in a video on like Instagram, which needs the vertical, horizontal, vertical, then I could use that. But you know what? This is way too much effort, and I don't really like the way it's focusing as much as I did before. But you know what? Good morning, Jessica. And good morning to you. This is Love Morning. There's a chance for us to be connected and remind each other that we're not alone. And a place for me to play with my tech toys and cameras and at your expense. So thank you for your patience. But it's also a chance to just be reminded that we're not alone, and there's so many of us going through this journey that are maybe sometimes even struggling to keep our hearts open and stay optimistic. And when we know that we're not alone, it makes it so much easier. I have certainly had my share of evidence lately of a challenging, unfair, unjust world. And part of a gratitude practice and a practice like this is to go, that may be true. And, yes, and there is so many things to appreciate and find joy in, to love, to celebrate, and even maybe to appreciate things that are difficult. So shifting that conclusion, that things suck or life sucks or life's hard or life's unfair, to it is unfair and there is so much to appreciate. That's huge. That is massive. I'm not going to try to convince anyone that all is well and no one suffers. That would be a tough argument to make. And I'm not saying we should train our minds to ignore all suffering. Just perhaps avoid the tendency to fall into despair with a little reminder of the beauty with the horror. Good morning, Christopher. And good morning, Nick. And Nick says, I'm grateful for the love we share with each other. Love it. And Pierre's here. Good morning. Pierre is thankful for connection. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to actually close the front door. I've got it open for some breeze, but I'm going to close it. I feel like we have garbage collection here daily, multiple times a day. We live in alley, and there's different companies that do it. So I think they go through once for trash on one side, then they go back and do trash on the other side of the alley. And then I think they also do recycling on one side, recycling on the other side. And then there's two companies. So then there's a private company, a public company. So that's like, 6 trips. And I know they go more than once a week. So lots of appreciation and gratitude for a system that removes trash from our homes and puts it into someone else's backyard so that we don't have to worry about it. Maybe that's short thinking. I wonder how we would deal with our trash if it was in our backyard and we had to decide if we were going to compost or if we were just going to put it in a plastic bag and let it, rot in a bag in our backyards. I know I would personally be dealing with it differently. And the fact that I say that aloud in confession is probably a sign that I could be a better person for this planet. So, sorry about that, fellow humans who are not getting my best. But sometimes it's tough to do your best when there are so many examples of things not being the best. And how much effort does an individual have to put into doing their part? How much sacrifice versus their quality of life? And that does it make a difference? And I think it goes back to the topic of a few weeks ago of like, do you feel good about yourself? If you don't feel good about yourself, then make the change. Not because it's going to save the planet, but do you feel that you're doing what you need to do to feel good about yourself in the general efforts to minimize destruction of the planet? Good morning, Katie from Maine. Good morning, Joyous. Joyous says, I was thinking the same thing. The trash people come like 4 days a week. Oops. And Joyce is grateful for my beliefs and faith and so grateful for good news I got this morning and grateful my spirit feels aligned and connected. Yay, that is a good feeling. I am grateful for, I had a friend call me this morning that needed to talk, so I'm grateful that he trusted me and I could be a voice. And I'm grateful that our relationship was such that I could kind of push back on some things he said and challenge him in some ways. He was asking for some advice on how to offer some help to a person. And my strong suggestion was, if they did not ask you for help, then do not offer them help. If someone says, I'm feeling overweight, the response is not, oh, I have a gym that I love, you should go to my gym. If they ask you, hey, I am looking for ways to get in better shape, then by all means, offer suggestions. But someone who's just feeling unhealthy or overweight, I think the response is, I hear you. Sometimes that sucks to feel unhealthy. I know that feeling of feeling like your body is not your own, or it's too much, or feeling guilty about your habits. But to simply say, ooh, you would look better if you were thinner. This is what you should do. That's a big jump from someone expressing how they're feeling to being told, giving a directive and instructions. What's the phrase? Unrequested advice is criticism. Katie says, hello from Maine, and that there was a mass shooting in Maine last night. Shooter still at large. Oh my God. And a shelter in place for the state police. Oh my gosh. Well, that certainly applies to what I was speaking of earlier. That in a world where that is true, it is certainly difficult to keep the attitude that this is a beautiful world. But it is a horrible world, and it is a beautiful world. We live in a world with terror and joy. Whew. Ben says, I'm trying to be a better version of myself and show up more optimally for me and the world. Grateful for those feelings, telling me it's time to grow in an uncomfortable way. Well said. You know, that's really the only thing we need to be listening to, is not what a friend tells us to do, not what an influencer tells us to do, but do we feel not right? Are we in a place where we feel we know we could be better? Because that feeling we can work with. And if it's somebody outside of ourselves telling us that we need to change, then that's a trap. That'll never be soothed. But if it's being out of alignment, well, then what will it take to be in alignment? Maybe it's composting. Maybe it's not having a pint of ice cream every night. Maybe it's getting sober. Maybe it is not keeping a secret from a partner. Maybe it's using a reusable water bottle. Who knows? But if you're not right and you just learn to live in that not right state, then you fall into deeper and deeper into living a life that you're not proud of, and then we need more numbing, escape, seeking things that give us meaning that are outside just simply being. But if you can get in that state of being right with your choices, being in alignment with your values, the values that come from the inside, not the ones that are given to you from the outside. If you can be in that state of alignment, then you can be at peace, and you don't need to do anything. Anything that you do is done from that place of alignment and authenticity. So that's really our objective in our spiritual path. Not setting goals for achievement, but in what needs to be realigned? What is off track? What is making me feel like, this isn't quite right? And it changes. Like right now, I do not have as strict a practice of rinsing my recycling as I once did. I once felt that for me to feel good putting something in the recycling, I got it super clean. Now, I rinse it, and I just kind of feel okay participating in the recycling program in a half-ass way. Now that might change, but I will change not because I get a flyer from the city telling me to. I will change because something, maybe it's the flyer, maybe it's learning more about how recycling works, but something in me will make me feel inside like, that doesn't feel so, you're not quite, you're not being who you could be. And then you make that change or work towards it. One single choice at a time. So you can go to bed. Today I lived in my purpose, which is, what's my purpose? Being authentically me. Well done. All right, I'm on YouTube and Facebook, and I saw that Jessica had some beautiful share. I am grateful that the last visit with my grandpa was so wonderful. He gave us a tour of the acreage, fed the horses. He put on a show for us on his ride on a leaf blower. I gave him a kiss on the forehead and gave him the biggest hug. He died suddenly from a heart attack yesterday. What a beautiful set of final memories. What a nice thing to have in your heart as you also grieve. Which is, I guess, how the same thing, which is there is struggle and there is joy. You can feel overwhelming grief and loss and pain, and also appreciate the memories, the presence in you, and which isn't to say that is not an attempt to convince you or push hey, chin up, be grateful. No, not at all. Feel. There's no manual to the right way to process loss and grief. It's okay to have a big smile on your face at a funeral. And it's okay to be unable to speak for weeks. But clearly, you're both lucky to have each other. And heart goes to you today and to your family. Chris says, I navigate a way that is no longer truth. Gerbot says, yes to alignment and authenticity. Joy says, I thought in Cali we don't have to rinse our recycles. I do a quick rinse though. Well, my understanding is that the recycling in California is, at least, is a sham. And that, they have put us all our recycles in a single bin, and then they have people that separate them, and I'm not sure that even happens. But who knows? I don't want to be the one who discourages anyone. They seem to keep giving, like, the new focus seems to be about, organic matter. We have private trash, so we don't have them, but our neighbors all have a green bin for food wastes and green stuff, and everyone was given a little like tub thing to bring compost to the curb with, which is great. But I think there's, these are big systems that require more than just good intentions to work. But I'm rooting for us. All right, any more gratitudes today? I think I just realized as I'm looking at myself in the big camera that is recording me this direction that I don't think I'm centered. I think this is going to be a very strange archive, but the plus side of this strange archive is that it will be a successful test. Even if that test is, this is not a good idea. But maybe as a test, I will try to, there was a couple things I said today that maybe were worth making a clip out of. Maybe I'll try it. Gerbot is grateful for being here now. Katie says, I'm grateful to be safe. Katie also says, I rinse my recycling, but mostly to keep the flies down. And separates her compost. And yay for experiments. Thank you, Gerbot. Yes, I'm trying to embrace the practice of failed experiments. I too easily think things through and decide that's not going to be worth it. And I think that I reduce my learning and I curb my curiosity, which I'm actively trying to work against. As someone gets older, the curiosity muscle sometimes atrophies. At least my desires for comfort and the known often is stronger than my desire to learn something new. But I'm working on it. I've been playing with some new video editing stuff, and actually I made a video yesterday. I gotta figure out if it's as good as I'm gonna get it, but it's my 4 favorite Halcyon pranks over the years, and 4 things that people have done where I was the butt of the joke at Burning Man. I wonder, maybe that's not, maybe I gotta say, I gotta figure out what do I call it? Maybe it is 4 times I've been the butt of a joke. Right now I have asked my 4 favorite pranks, but it's really, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Well, I'm glad that we're all here now in this moment, getting to be reminded of the presence of fellow open-hearted humans, and hopefully being encouraged to go and be that in the world. As I walked this morning, I said hello to several neighbors as I walked around the block in the neighborhood. A woman even stopped me and said, "What does your shirt say?" And she actually struggled to read it. So I was like, "Is this hard to read?" So I got to say, "Love more, fear less, float more, steer less." She says, "Oh, float. Oh." So, but that was an opportunity for me to be a love ambassador and have a connection with a neighbor, which is in alignment with that directive of just trying to be a person that is acting in alignment with values and authenticity. And I want to be someone who is open and connecting. So if I avoid interactions because they might be awkward, I avoid the awkwardness, but I retain the deep knowledge of being out of alignment. This is not the person that I want to be. So if I pursue and push myself to be someone who is more connecting and saying hello to people, that is gone, and I'm now in flow. Okay, yes, this does feel right. This is who I want to be. So the result of the interactions is irrelevant. The success of the purpose is in making the choice to be the person that we want to be. Katie's grateful it's in the 70s in Maine today. And Katie reminded us to keep Lewiston, Maine in our hearts. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Joyous. Thank you, Chris. Gearbot says, muscles need to be exercised. Use it or lose it. Well, thank you guys for being here on this, what is it, a Thursday? Good morning. Happy Thursday. So wherever you are, before we head off into our days, let's give ourselves a big hug on behalf of one another, feeling the connection, appreciating these shared ideas, these shared heart vibrations, helping that combining of our vibrations can strengthen our resolve to be those people in the world, to be love ambassadors. So let's feel that collective strength as we take a deep breath in and hug and squeeze one another. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of you, thanks for being here for this love morning. I love you.